I guess let's just start with Wyoming. As you've mentioned, I mean, three really tough battles with them last year. Why do you think that those matchups were so close last year, and where have they improved under a new head coach?
Yeah, that's a hard one. Last year, my memory's not great, but I know they were all close games and playing four guards. They're a hard matchup. Maldonado plays their four spots, so they're really playing four guards with a center that spends more time, out on the perimeter because he can really shoot threes. So it's just a different team. It's a team that doesn't really play through the post a lot. They all have a lot of guys that can shoot the three, so you're defending five spots out on the floor most of the time that can shoot the three, and so that presents a lot of problems. But now getting into the film now on them over the last day or two, it's been about watching us over Fresno and trying to get us better moving forward.
One of the things you guys have done real well is defend. I mean, top 40 in the nation, field goal defense, really good defensive rebounding. What do you think has been the key to your guys' defensive success so far this year?
Well, we're young and learning, but the thing that we talked about in Chris back in the summer was we were going to have to hang our hat defensively. And that's part of our culture. We want to build that culture defensively. And I think that'll continue to get better. I think as these young guys continue to fundamentally do things better, get more experience under the belt, you add new guys to the mix, that will continue to evolve, I think, into a very positive thing. But we knew we lost so much points. All of our points are basically gone from last year, with the exception, I think of Zane a little bit and Robbie a little bit, but and Kane a little bit, and KJ some. So we just didn't return many points. And so I think the guys have really bought into our identity being at the defensive end, and we know the offense is going to be slowly evolving, and it's doing that. We're seeing better offense. We're taking care of the ball. We're taking better shots. Our percentages are starting to go up. We're starting to get to the free throw line much better than we did a month ago. So that offense is going to continually evolve. But I think defensively, I think we've had 8 games, 7 of them we felt under 70. So we've done a good job. And I think we're making scores hard. I think the worst defensive game we've had was the second game against Air Force, and that cost us. But for the most part, we got a little lazy in game 2 against New Mexico. But for the most part, we've been really sound defensively, and that's been good to see because I think that's given us some chances to win. Even our 2 losses at San Diego State, defensively, we gave ourselves a chance to win in that last 4-minute game. So that's got to continue. We can't have slippage there.
Most of your New Mexico teams, the defense was stronger than the offense. Not that the offense was bad, but they were just really, really strong defensive teams. Is that kind of how you'd like to construct your culture and your teams, or do you have a preference on which?
Oh yeah, but we were really good offensively too. We were hard to guard. You had guys like Tony Snell who's in the league, Kendall Williams, Darrington Hobson, Roman Martinez, Doris Gary was a vicious point guard, followed by Hugh Greenwood. Then Cam Bairstow really developed into the best player in the league. Daniel Ferris early with J.R. Giddens. And then we just had such good role guys from Jamal Fenton to Will Brown coming off the bench. AJ was terrific for us. We just had a lot of Alex Kirk, who played in the league and now having a great career in Japan. We just had so many weapons that you had to defend that we were just so much more balanced. If you look at our New Mexico teams, we had 4 or 5 guys in double figures or right at it. And so more of a balanced attack, but defensively we were really solid. And I think that's what we want here. We want a balanced offensive attack with really solid defense that is hard to play against. And when that happens, I think you give yourself a really good chance of winning games.
Looks like Addison's been practicing with you guys. I guess how optimistic are you that he'll be able to actually join the team and play this year? And just what does he add? If not, what does he just add in practice and being able to, be on the scout team and give some difficult looks for your starters?
Well, it's going to help having Addison and Will. Will will join us probably in a week. But having those 2 guys around in practice is going to be really good. I have no idea. It's in a waiver process, so I have no idea if Addison will get a waiver or not. But just an athletic guard who can really score the basketball. So he's somebody that And I think he works defensively, but he's just got a scoring mindset. So adding those two guys that are really skilled offensively is going to help us down the road.
Coach, you talked about Zane. Any update on how he's feeling a couple days later, and then also the possibility of adding another guy into the mix this week? You talked about being able to get one more guy back.
Yeah, we hope we get Daniel back. He practiced all week last week, and things went well. They had a day off yesterday, so we've got 3 days of practice here to see how Daniel does. And then it's just day to day with Zane. He's got very sore knees, so he's probably more day to day. Nothing will be decided probably until almost game day with him. But and it's probably going to be the same with Daniel. But we're hopeful, we're optimistic that we at the very least can get Daniel back and get him some minutes. He hasn't played obviously all year, so we don't know conditioning and exactly what he'll be able to do. But this is somebody that can guard almost every position on the court. Very tough-minded. Offensively, he helps us because of how tough he is, how he handles the ball, and how he directs and sees things. He's got a really big IQ. So that would help our backcourt as well. So we're just waiting to see the end of the week of what it looks like after practicing.
Coach, what stands out to you about Wyoming just on paper right now? Do they remind you of any of the teams that you guys have played so far this season?
Not really. We haven't seen a lot of teams obviously yet, but it's very similar to last year with a really good freshman. Their freshman, the Williams kid, has really gotten off to a good start, and that's really helped them. And they got a good bench. They really play 8 guys, and all 8 can score the basketball. So a little bit deeper, I think, even though they're only playing 8 guys. I think they've got 8 guys that can put the ball in the basket, and they're doing a very good job to date. But I don't know if I could compare them to anybody.
Obviously, altitude's always a big issue when you play there. Do you change your rotation at all? Do you try and give Grant maybe?
No, sometimes you might sub a little bit earlier, just because guys getting their second win. That type of thing. So you might see us sub a little bit earlier than we normally do just because of that. I think that's really the thing altitude affects more than anything else, is just getting that second and third wind you get hit a little bit quicker, and it takes you a little bit longer to get that. So we might sub a little bit quicker, but again, all that varies on, our availability of just how deep we are. It was great seeing Dre. Dre came in and gave us a huge boost. Alam played in his minutes. He was very good this week. So that was good to see those guys come in and give us a big lift when we needed it. If we get Daniel back, if Zane can play, our depth is getting much, much better, that I think we can handle that.
Coach, with Wyoming's aptitude to hit the three-point ball, especially what they did yesterday, how important will it be to guard that three-point line in the series?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a huge key. I think that's going to be a big key going into it. But as we put together, our plan of defending them, I think it's really about us getting better fundamentally with what we want to do, how we guard the dribble drive, how we guard post help wise, how do we guard off ball screening and drive and kick opportunities. All these things we work on daily. So it's more than I think what Wyoming does. It's how we improve this week defensively. I thought we were better from New Mexico to San Diego State defensively, and I thought we were better San Diego State to Fresno. And if we can keep that pattern going, then we'll just continue to be a hard team we can develop into being a hard team to score on. And so that's the approach more than anything. It's not anything in particular Wyoming does. It's just it's knowing personnel, and knowing what guys like to shoot it, how guys get shots, and then factoring out in the fundamentals of just how we guard and how we teach that.
Robbie's gotten some pretty good minutes the last couple of series. Obviously a very good defensive player. Why is he so good at defending, a variety of guys? But I mean, specifically even bigs who might have a few inches on.
Well, he's a team guy, and I think that's his strength, and that's what I've been impressed with his development. He's just a selfless individual. that thinks a lot of defenses about that and how he can help a teammate. And, we asked him to guard guards. We asked him to guard bigs. We had no issues of him guarding Robinson, who is a elite big in our league. And we were going to take Robinson, and he was down in points. He was down in rebounds, and he was up in turnovers. So our bigs did a really good job, and we had good team help. But we weren't afraid who Robbie's 6'8", so he gives up 3-4 inches of putting him on Robinson some too. So we ask him to guard a lot of variety, and he always steps up and handles that very well. But and he's got a chance to be a very good rebounder as well. I think that's gotten off to a little bit of a slow start, and hopefully that picks up as he continues to get more minutes.
I know you get asked a lot about Grant, but has anything he's done this year surprised you at all? I mean, he's almost given you statistically exactly what Jalen gave you last year, and Jalen was, one of the best players in the nation.
The only thing that surprised me today, Chris, is he hadn't been player of the week in the league yet. That's my only surprise. The league obviously doesn't know about him yet, and that's fine because it's just the tip of the iceberg with him. He's only going to get better. He's the only guy in the league that's had 6 straight 20-plus games. You look at him this week, he got 25 and 6, averaged 25 and 6, shot 53 from the field, 91, almost 92 from the free throw line, including 10 for 10 in game 2, shot 42 from the 3-point line. He was phenomenal this week, but he's been really good since conference play resumed for us after the break. He's had 6 straight games here of really controlling things, and that's not just scoring the ball. I think he's controlling things at both ends, and he's going to continue to grow and develop defensively because he listens and learns. But I just think he's done a really good job within our offense of managing when to pass, when to shoot, what kind of shot to get, how to get a teammate open, when it's time to lob to the big, when time post feed to the big. He's just managing the game extremely well. And if you look at stats, he's top 3 in the conference in scoring. He's top 10 in free throw percentage. He's top 10 in steals. He's top 10 in assists. He's top 10 in minutes played. He's top 10 in percentage of shooting the basketball. I mean, he's just doing a lot of good things to start his career here. And I only think he's at the start. I really do. I've seen a lot out of him, recruiting him for a long time, and he continues to listen and learn. This is going to be an individual that's going to just keep getting better, which is kind of exciting.
Now that you're a few series in, I know you guys are doing the kind of the doubleheader style thing because of the travel and COVID. Have you enjoyed that, or what have your thoughts been now that you've played 4 of these series?
Well, I've liked it just from the standpoint, I think it gives us the best opportunity to get in games instead of playing at Wyoming, coming back to Reno, playing a home game. Maybe somebody else has played a road game and now they're coming in. At least it presents a weekend bubble. We're testing 4 times a week. Tested yesterday, test again today, test twice in Laramie. So I think it's at least giving us an opportunity as a league. V got hit hard. And now they're playing catch up. Hopefully they can stay healthy and they're playing some catch up with the rest of the league. But for the most part, it's worked so far. And, hopefully all teams can continue to just be careful and cautious and do the things that they got to do. But this at least eliminates a lot of the travel, which in and out of these airports, like we flew back from San Diego through Vegas, and it was wall-to-wall people, and there wasn't a seat that wasn't filled on that plane on either leg of it. So I think the more you're around that, there's just that chance. And so if you can eliminate 5 trips, which really this does, I think it gives us the best chance. Is it perfect? No, because Wyoming doesn't come to our place. San Diego State doesn't come to our place. We don't go to Fresno. We don't go to Air Force. It's not going to be equitable for everybody. But it gives if we're really in it for the kids and we're really in it for the student athletes, I think this is the best chance of getting close to a full round of schedule. And right now, we're we're getting the 3rd week of January, and we haven't missed a game. We had to sub 1 game, but we're on par to get to 27 total games. And I don't know if the beginning of the year we would have thought that would have been even possible. And so, our student athletes are at least to date getting as many games in as they can. I think that's a key.
Doing
You had
something.
mentioned. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
I was just saying I was doing something on Cullen Neal, and I know you got to coach with your son for a few years. What do you think it's meant to Noodles to be able to have a season on the bench with his son?
Yeah, you'd have to ask him, but I think probably pretty special because we both got very close families. And I think anytime you're in a close knit family, that's something that's very special. And I mean, I think I've mentioned this before. I had my dad on my bench for 9 years collegiately after playing for him in high school. I went to Missouri State, took him with me. Then my first 5 years at Iowa, I had him on my bench. So for 9 years, I had my own dad on my bench. Took about 3, 4, 5 years, the last 3 at Iowa and the first couple at New Mexico. And then Corey joins as a walk-on at New Mexico, then a walk-on at UCLA. So I got my oldest son on the bench for 4. Then Bryce joins me for 4 at UCLA, and Corey then goes on my staff for 5 years after that. So, there hadn't been a lot of 30-year coaching career. I've only had maybe 7 years without an Alford with me. And I told Tanya that was odd this year because I went from basically the 3rd or 4th year at New Mexico all the way until my 2nd year at Nevada with not having a family member that went to work with me every day. And that's special. That's something that you love, those blessings. As basketball has been a huge part of our family. I grew up with it, the dinner table with a dad that was a coach, and our sons, even my daughter, they've had to grow up with the same thing, a coach at the dinner table. And I've had to be careful not to dominate the message of just basketball. I hope I've done a good job of eliminating some basketball to where they know I'm dad before I'm a coach. But with that said, it's been a tremendous blessing, having them around for so long. And I'm sure Noodles feels the same, having Cullen, and they can talk at night about games. They can talk at night about, hey, what can we do to help the team get better? That's a fun, exciting time as a family.
Coach, you had brought up Trey Coleman after Sunday's win. What especially have you been pleased with since you inserted him into the starting lineup from a growth perspective?
Well, I think you're going to see him become an elite defender. I think it's in his mindset. He doesn't have a mindset offensively the way I want it yet because he kind of takes a back seat, which is fine right now in his development. But I thought we saw a more aggressive Trey Coleman against Fresno, and he's getting to the free throw line very well. And he's starting to make those foul shots. He's not afraid to shoot the jump shot as much. He's driving the ball harder now. So he's listening and he's learning offensively. But boy, defensively, he's just got that mindset. I thought he was really good this weekend on Stroud, which is really their second leading scorer. Everybody talked about Robinson, but we kind of took Stroud out of the game, both games, and made somebody else in the backcourt score for them, which was that was tremendous. And he takes a lot of pride in that. And I think you're only going to see that grow as he learns the college game and everything about it. I think he's going to be an elite defender in the Mountain West Conference and throughout the country. And I think you're going to see his offense just continue to evolve over time. He's got all the makings. He's got good fundamentals as a shooter. His catch pivot is an evolving process that's going to help his drive game. And I think he's working on his board play. I think that's the thing that we wanted him to see. Average, I think, 5 rebounds this past weekend. That's what we need him to average for the year. Up until Fresno, he's getting about two a game. And as our big guard, we need for him to be a better rebounder, and I think he'll focus on that.
All right, Coach. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.